Hey, what's going on, guys? It's DK back at you with another video here. Today on the 4-game CSGO main slate on Sunday. Before I get into the video, if you're new to the channel, my name's DK. I make daily videos breaking down NFL, XFL, NBA, and now esports daily fantasy sports slates, esports including CSGO, Call of Duty, and League of Legends. So yeah, again, this one we'll be talking about the 4-game CSGO slate. Before we get into players and their prices, what we can do is we can look back at my lineup here from Saturday. So, we can shift over here. This is my final lineup. Fallen, Calyx, Yuri, Fur, Dapper, and Moose. So not in the money right now. Fallen and Fur probably going to have pretty decent games here. They lost game 1. It's a close game right now going on in game 2. So need to hope MIBR can pull that out and then win game 3 as well. Let's talk about my plays. Calyx was a guy that, as a spend up, wasn't that high owned, only 31% in a really good matchup. A little bit surprised about that. Yuri was one of my favorite plays there in the mid-tier. He was pretty solid there for 72 fantasy points. Again, Fur and Fallen currently going on right now. They were underdogs, but that's kind of where I took a stand. Hopefully they can pull out game 2 and take it to game 3. Moose's value, talked about him, pairing him with Calyx. Those are my two favorite players there at Envy. Dapper was the one disappointment. He was pretty high owned. A lot of people were on him, 42% owned. They just got absolutely crushed there. 26 and 43, a little bit disappointing there. So yeah, all in all, I think it's going to come down to Fur and Fallen. If they can pull us to 3 maps and have a big game 3, might be able to sneak in the cash here. But that is the lineup that I went with. So let's take a look at the Vegas numbers here for this 4-game slate. We have North versus Mouse Esports. Mouse Esports, the biggest favorites of the day at minus 425. So Mouse Esports are a team I think you can feel pretty confident in winning this series. Team Heretics versus NS. NS are minus 225 favorites. G2 and FaZe Clan, this should be a good one to watch. Basically a pick 'em right now. And then Movistar Riders versus Contact. Another one that's basically a pick 'em. Contact slight favorites there at minus 135. Okay, so there The two games I'm not like super familiar with. The teams are Team Heretics, NS, and Movistar Riders and Contact. Haven't got to watch a whole lot of them, so brought up recent stats here for both teams. In this one, again, NS are favorites here at minus 225. So if we look at NS and their rating 2.0s, you can kind of scroll through their players, right? No one has like a great rating, only actually one above 1. With Alu. But if we go over to their salaries here, let's see, where are we at? Alu is the highest, but guys like Sergej and Sunny, those guys, I mean, again, I think for their prices, their favorites, I think both those two guys kind of stand out as decent value options right now. If we're just taking price into consideration, 7.4K and 6.4K respectively. Again, they are favorites here. So I think those two guys do kind of stand out. Alu, I think there's better spend ups personally, so I don't think I'm going to go there. I like a lot on the Mouse Esports side. I like Nico, obviously, on FaZe, like Hunter on G2. There are some guys that are underpriced in the slate. So that's kind of where I'm looking to spend up, but I might look to take shots here on some value guys. Again, maybe like Sunny or Sergej. I don't know how to pronounce his name. So, yeah, those are kind of the two guys that I'm really looking at there for value. If we look on the Heretic side, again, not super familiar with this team. They are dogs, but not huge dogs. So I think these guys are viable. Just scrolling through their rating 2.0s, they are higher. Recently, I think I've played easier matches. Navarra at 1.22, XMS at 1.0, Lucky 1.17, Kishioma at 1.04, and Maka 1.13. Now let's take a look at their prices here. So XMS is I believe he's the cheapest player on the slate. Yes. He's at 4.4K. I know they are dogs, but he's still pointing a respective 1.0, a rating 2.0, which is, again, very similar to a KD ratio. I think he's someone that is, if you're going superstars and scrubs, I think he's in play. If you're looking at other plays, Navarra and Maka had really good games the last time out, 90, 96. I believe there's only one game on here, or 2 games actually. But they weren't playing against the best competition here. This is a much better team. Again, they are dogs here. So maybe I kind of look to the value again, like a guy like Lucky, right? 6K, he's averaging 71.5 fantasy points. I think he's someone maybe I could take a shot on for value. Again, I don't know if I get to these guys for spend ups, but I think this game is where I'm looking to maybe take a shot on one of those cheap guys. And then kind of the same thing here with Movistar Riders was Contact. Not super familiar. So what we can do is we can go over, take a look at some stats. This one, again, basic pick'em Contact are slight favorites, but you could go really either way. If we look at Movistar Riders first, we can scroll through their rating 2.0s. I believe it's Alex that has the highest, so we can take a look at their salaries here. And he is the highest priced guy on Draftkings. I believe they only have one game on here for their stats. Yeah, one game. It was against Mouse Esports, and they, I think, lost, but took it to 3 games. It was a close game. If we just look at that last game, Mopas put up 78.5 fancy points. He's only 5.2K, so yeah, I mean, again, I think he's someone that is very much in play for value here. If we look at his rating 2.0, just below 1, but again, really cheap price tag. I think he's viable. Again, I don't know if I'm going to get to the spend ups here on these 2 games. I think that the FaZe G2 and the Mouse Esports games are where I'm looking to spend up. But again, these are the games I might look for some value. Like Steel put up a decent game there. He's only 6.6K. Easter, like these guys are all guys that I'm looking at. And if you guys are curious, you can go to hltv.org, scroll through it. This is for the last 3 months, their stats. But let's take a look at Contact now. So again, Contact are slight favorites here. We can look at Emmy first. He's got a 0.88 rating 2.0. Auto ND, I think that's the highest at 1.11. Ships at 1.01. Esperanto at 1.09. Letney at 0.8, so he's probably not someone I get to. So that is a value play, basically kind of crossing that off. Emmy's at 5.6. I don't know if I get there either, just because that rating 2.0 is below 0.9. So those 2 guys, I probably avoid Emmy and Letney. But the other 3, again, I don't know if I get to Auto ND for spend up. So maybe like Ships in the mid-range or even Esperanto. Those are guys I might take a shot on. But now let's talk about the Mouse Esports side. So this is where I feel pretty confident. Frozen, probably my favorite play of the day here at 8.2K. That's just way too cheap. Now the concern is that this game, it goes an easy 2-0, and maybe he doesn't go off in both games, so he doesn't put up that big of a line. But I think he's a pretty safe play. His salary is underpriced in my opinion. I know he's been a little bit up and down here, but that's been against good competition. I do like Frozen a good amount here. Rops as well. I think he's certainly in play as a spend up. Again, this is kind of where I'm looking at to spend up. Mouse Esports are the biggest favorites of the day. So those 2 guys I have a good amount of interest in. Waxic in the mid-range. If you can't get to Rops or Frozen, I don't mind him, the ADPer. I think he is solid. Kerrigan and Chris J are definitely viable cheap options as well. If you don't want to take a shot on one of these guys in these 2 games, again, Mouse Esports are pretty big favorites. Kerrigan and Chris J not going to put up huge numbers, but if they get an easy 2-0, you could see them, putting up 50 or 60 fancy points. So Kerrigan, Chris J, if you want to go that route for value, I think is also viable. But again, my main interest there is those guys at the top, Rops, Frozen. Don't mind Waxic either. If we look at North, this is a team I'm basically going to fully avoid. If you want to take shots and get risky, that's fine. Not going to be where I go. Mouse Esports are the biggest favorites of the day, so that's the team I'll be completely crossing off. Lastly, let's talk about FaZe G2. This one should be a really fun game to watch. It's a pick'em right now. 2 good teams. I feel pretty excited about this. Nico is the main slayer here for FaZe, and he has huge upside. 9.6K is a lot, but he's certainly someone I'm looking to. And again, there's some of the guys on Mouse Esports. We'll talk about some of the G2 guys as well. I think there's underpriced where I think you can get Nico in there if you want to. So I do like Nico a good amount as a spend up. The value, I don't think I get to Ulf Meister there. He just kind of looks washed up. Brokey in the mid-range I think is fine, but I think I prefer a couple guys on the G2 side. 2 Brokey there in the mid-range. Rain and Coldzera are fine. I think if they go a little bit lower owned, but those guys are certainly viable. If we talk about the G2 side now, Hunter is a guy I really like at 8K. He had a disappointing game against the last team against God. Only 58 fancy points. It was a 2-0. He had a great map 1, but map 2 was just the Kenny S show, so didn't put up huge numbers. But yeah, 8K, I think that's way too cheap. I really like Hunter here. And I also like Kenny S. Their ADP here at 7.2K. That's just too cheap for him as well. So yeah, if you're going to look at, him versus like Brokey, I much prefer getting to Kenny S here. I think he has more upside. Just because Nico is really takes over the slaying department for FaZe. Whereas G2, a little bit more balanced, but Hunter and Kenny S, I think, are their main slayers. So I like both those guys a lot here in the mid-range. Nexa as well at 7.6K, he had a really good game, but I think I would prefer just getting to Hunter for a little bit more or Kenny S for a little bit less. Jackson Armanek, I think, are viable. Armanek at 5.2K, that's a pretty cheap price tag. He's been a little bit up and down, right? If we're just looking at fantasy points, 20, 65, 29, 62. But, at least he has that upside, right? He can have that 50, 60 fantasy point upside at a really cheap price tag. I think he is viable. If we're talking about captains here, so there is a lot to like here. Again, I like Nico, Rops, Frozen, Hunter, even Kenny S. Like, those are the guys I'm looking at if you want to get like an expensive guy in your captain spot. I think have a lot of upside here. If we're looking to take shots on like a cheap guy and put him in your captain spot, XMS is the cheapest play of the day at 6.6K. I guess I don't hate that. Armanek here, if you put him in the captain spot, that's 7.8K. Even like Chris J or Kerrigan, bottom players on the Mouse Esports, but they're huge favorites. I think that is a viable option as well. Lucky talked about him and the Heretic side. So that's kind of what I'm looking at for captain. It's interesting, right? If you throw in one of these cheap guys in your captain spot, right? So, let's see. Who do we want to... let's just throw, for example, XMS, right? He's the cheapest play of the day. If we throw him in the captain spot, that's 8.6K remaining. You can basically... yeah, you can get whoever else you want in there, in my opinion. So, that is certainly an option if you want to do that. Or to go with, again, one of those top-tier guys like Nico, like Rops, Frozen, Hunter, Kenny S. So I'm feeling pretty good about the slate. Again, at Mouse Esports, the only downside is maybe they get it really, really easy 2-0, and like Rops and Frozen don't go off. That FaZe G2 game should stay close. Probably goes to 3 games. So again, there's lots to like there. Nico on the FaZe side. On the G2 side, I really like Hunter, really like Kenny S. I think those guys are just underpriced. The other 2 games here, again, I haven't watched a whole lot of them, so a little bit unfamiliar, but you can go to hltv.org, take a look at some stats. I might take a shot at 1 or 2 of these guys for value. But yeah, I think that basically wraps it up for this slate for the breakdown of the CSGO. So yeah, if you guys have been enjoying the content so far, would really appreciate it if you could like this video, subscribe if you haven't already. As far as Call of Duty slate, I don't think I'm going to be able to get a video up just because there's still a game going on right now, and the price tags haven't come out yet. And I'm not, they're not going to come out, I think, for another hour or 2, and I'm actually busy for the rest of the night. So don't think I'm going to be able to get a video out there for COD, but next week for sure, I'll probably try to get all 3 videos out, or a video out for each day for Call of Duty. CSGO, going to continue to grind. Monday, I don't believe there's a slate, but Tuesday, through the rest of the week, I think we're back to a lot of games there. So yeah, hope you guys all have a good day. Hope you guys are all staying safe, staying healthy. I will be back for another video again. I think it's the Tuesday slate for CSGO. So I will see you guys then.